So Jane Vandermeer is, as I think most of you know, an incredible woman. She is not your average stylist who's basically just a shopping buddy. She works with women for 5 months at a time to really get into your head and understand what you think about your own body, what's going on with your wardrobe, what you like, what you don't like, and then she helps you move into that space. I have known her. We met through CEO. God,
Yeah.
it was just as I was starting. She's the boss. She's
Yeah.
been a huge supporter of ours.
Yeah.
She's an absolutely beautiful woman, inside and out. So I'm going to hand over to her. I would suggest that you turn in the top right where it says view on your Zoom. I would turn it to speaker view, and that way you'll get Jane front and center in the middle of your screen while she's doing her talk. I don't know how long it's going to last, probably half an hour or so, and then we open it up and we can all have a good old chat about it all. So handing over to you, beautiful Jane.
Oh, thanks so much. How exciting. I'm so thrilled to be here. And gosh, there's so many beautiful faces. Most I know, not everybody, but so thank you for coming, because look, it's all precious time out of one's day. Jules, am I able to do a screen share?
Yeah, of course you are.
Is
it not letting you?
I don't know. I haven't even tried yet.
Okay, hang on. Let me go in and check that you can. Yes, we forgot to test that bit, didn't we?
Sorry.
Okay,
I started my morning and couldn't even get my laptop to work, so I had a mild
minor. Okay.
Yeah, and all it was is that it had run out of power, but I never let it run completely out. So I thought, this is good. I'm thinking on my feet. But anyway.
All right. I don't know if I can. Can you try? If it won't work for you, then Antonia.
Host disabled participant screen.
Right, Antonia, you're actually the host of this. Can you click on Jane and make her a co-host? I'm only a co-host. Yes, because we worked out Zoom, so now you can finally host things.
Try that.
Okay, off you go.
Oh, voila. Can everyone see that?
Yes, we can.
So thank you so much for being here. I'm so thrilled.
Oh, Jane, do you want to put it onto what's the word for it when it presentation mode or something, because we can see all the slides down the side. Is there like a slide deck view or something? Slideshow.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. When you're on the screen, just go and see if you can do it then. I don't think you'll be able to do it in advance. I think you've got to be actually on the screen.
I think because it's a PDF, Jane's not going to be able to do that.
Okay, all right. Cool.
We're very, very professional here, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, we're slick ass. Thank goodness it's the content we care about.
What I will say is, when I taught tertiary fashion for many years, and their tech was really cool and the boards were touch screen and whatever, 9 times out of 10, I couldn't work it, and I had to get a student up and go, can you do this bit? I'm really good at fashion. I can present, but I need you to do that. It disarmed everyone,
I think up the top there on the left, next to Elevate Your Magnetism talk, there's that little picture with the 2 columns. If you click down on that, there's a little arrow there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You can hide sidebar.
Thank you. We learn a new thing every day.
So I've called today Elevate Your Magnetism, as you well know. So a quick wee overview of me. Fashion's in my blood. It was never a decision. It is what it is. I started sewing at 9 years old and I've never stopped. It is which I didn't realize this at the time, but it's my meditation. It is my creativity. I didn't want to look like everyone else. And I knew a way to do that was to make my own things. As well as I was never, when I grew up, I was never an off-the-rack size. I'm too curvy for off-the-rack size. And I always felt like an Oompa Loompa. I tell this story. When I was 16, my first official job, actually I was 14 and 9 months, but I worked in a jeans store. And so I learned how to fit, men and women, and all brilliant. But to get over my curves, everything was too big around my waist. And I remember thinking, all I need to do is drop some weight. And this is self-talk of a 14 and 9-month-old young girl, all I need to do is drop some weight. My hips will be smaller and I'll fit into the jeans. So this was in the 80s. And, of course, what happened is I lose weight all over and they still don't fit me. And I still feel like my bottom is too I'm not in proportion. I'm the problem. And so that self-talk starts very young, which is not great. And I think that's partly why I've always gone into and want to know why things are the way they are. I don't just say, and this is how I work with ladies, it's like, I don't just say, you know what, you'd look gorgeous in a teal jacket. It's the why is, to me, what's important. So look, I've been lucky enough to have a career that I love and following my heart and my passions. I'm a qualified fashion designer. I had a couture business, so a high-end business for many years. My first job was straight out of college and I worked for a lady that was like La Louvre, which is the top of Collins Street. And I remember being in there amongst women that would fly in from all over the country for fittings. And this was a world I'd never been exposed. I didn't grow up in that kind of world. And it was fascinating. I remember thinking I would do this for free. This is just the bee's knees. And I learned, she was tough. She'd wrap your knuckles and make you cry all the time. But it was very, very good training. And then I fulfilled another goal, which was I became a buyer. I always thought that seemed so glamorous and wanted to do that. And I remember going to Paris there's this big international trade fair. And it's like Jeff Shed here in Melbourne, time on steroids. And finally getting there and bursting into tears because it was just so exciting. And it was a dream come true. And I promised myself over all these years too, I would share knowledge because my industry, it is known for not sharing. We live in silos and we don't share. And that goes against what I believe. I believe that there's not competition. Even if there were 6 stylists on this call, we all do it in a different way. There's enough business for us all. And I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea. I'm not going to vibe with everyone. And that's cool. Like there's enough for all of us. So it's a lovely, it's a more abundant, less scarcity way of thinking. So anyway, that's a wee overview. I will say after having, someone? No? Oh, hearing things. I will say that at a certain point, after about 20 years of working 1 trillion hours a day and a week, I did get very sick a number of years ago, which prompted me, I was flat on my back. I had adrenal fatigue. I had 2 very serious cancer scares. I couldn't move my neck much more than about that for about a year. And what else? I had a slip disc and I couldn't walk. So for a bit. And I thought, okay, all right, I'll start listening now. I start listening and I call it listening to the whispers. There has to be a different way. And so the last, X amount of years of my life have been creating businesses and life in a different way. And that is actually what I teach in fashion. I infuse that within my fashion styling. So, which very much sits to my ethos of when we know ourselves more and more and more, and honestly, truthfully face the dark bits within ourselves, that is when, that is the most attractive quality to clients, to friendships, to acquaintances, to partners, to everyone. There is nothing more to me, nothing more appealing than someone that sits really strongly and securely in their own space, because then you're radiating. To me, it's the complete opposite of this hustle culture that has been a big word over the last few years. I'm so anti-hustle. I could not shout it from the rooftops enough. It just goes against what I believe. So fashion. So easy to be viewed as superfluous, and yet it is the easiest way to make an immediate impact as a leader. So the current landscape, of course, whether we're online or not prior to the, COVID, we certainly are now. This is our new normal now. So this is our shop window. If we each had a shop representing our businesses or our roles within, if we're working for other people, this is our shop window. So this is what we need to consider and think about, and honestly think about how we present and how we show up, and therefore who we attract. Does that, anyone can pipe up at any point, I might add to, I can hear, yeah.
The only thing I would say, and this is absolutely brilliant, is I think people haven't got it on. If you can all just turn yourself to mute while Jane's talking. I think we're just getting a bit of background noise, Jane. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
So you go for it, because we're loving it sick already.
Thanks, Dom. So with our current, this being our shop front, there are different things to consider. So like if we're all in the same room and I was standing in front of you giving you a lecture right now, you'd be able to get, have a whole picture. I'd be able to interact and walk through the crowd with you and all that kind of thing. But we have to adapt to this being our shop front, and we get a quick window. So this is how I view it, is this is a bit like a photo shoot. Makeup needs to be a little bit more rather than less. The days that I have less on, I look at myself and go, God, I look tired. And I'm not tired, but the lights are tougher. The lights are harsher. It just is. So one word that keeps coming up again and again and again, or two words, is self-confidence and self-worth. Even at the makeup tutorial on Sunday, Peter Gay started with this exact thing as well. And I thought, yes, she's getting it, I'm getting it. And it's magnified over COVID, this sense of losing ourselves and losing who we are. And I would also add in the mix of those of us who are in business and looking to move forward in life, whether in whatever area, we're about personal growth. We are about moving forward. And to do that, we need to let go of the old. We need to learn about ourselves and be brave and employ and get help. So if that is, for instance, if we are really honest and we know that public speaking is, makes us weak at the knees, then maybe it's time to go and do a little workshop, find a specialist, get some help. And whether that's health, whether that is copywriting, whatever, small business, there's all these different elements to consider. So I think it's being really honest with yourself as to where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, not beating yourself up for your weaknesses. We can't all be brilliant at everything. We are not all innate at everything. That would be unrealistic and unfair. But it's interesting where that confidence sits. And Peter Gay made a comment, and I thought, I also find this, we apologize for ourselves all the time. Women are so good at this, myself included, where someone will give us a compliment and then we'll flip it to the negative about something negative about ourselves. So I'll give you for example. One of my dear friends is this very glamorous fashion designer. She is beautiful. She's very, very curvy, but she really knows how to play with her assets. And one day she said to me, Jane, don't you just focus on my knees? And I said, in the 20 years I've known you, and we've spent a lot of time together, I said, I've never once looked at your knees, let alone focused on them. And she said, but they're so wobbly and they're this, that, and the other. I said, okay, I want you to look me in the eye and hear what I'm going to say to you. What I see is you have beautiful eyes. You know how to do makeup to enhance them really well. You have beautiful skin here. You know how to do your hair. You've got thick hair. You're charming. You're charismatic. You're warm. You're engaging. You're accomplished. And I kept going on, and all of it was true. Nothing was like, I don't tell porkies. I only say if I truly mean. And you know what she said? Yeah, but what about my knees? And I went, oh, gosh, wow. Right. And I suppose I've never forgotten that, because I thought it's amazing what we do focus on. Hence my next slide, okay? Oh, no, hang on. I'll come back to that one, seeing I'm on the, yes. As I do, I go rogue, right? So here, see on the right-hand side, I call this my 150% mirror. So we are how we are, but somehow magically, when we look at ourselves in the mirror, it is what we see. Often, this is not every single woman, but boy, oh boy, it's a huge majority, I find. What we see about ourselves is very different to reality. And also, if you asked your loved ones, like your sister, your girlfriend, whatever, what you see, you know, I bet you they wouldn't comment about what you think the issue is. Like your eye might go to your hips, your bottom, your tummy, the bits under here, whatever. I bet you that's not what anyone else focuses on. I really do. Yeah, it's fascinating. In all the women I've dressed, and I've dressed women for more than 30 years, I'm sad to say there would barely be a handful who say to me, I love my body just the way it is. And I think that's quite sad, actually. Anyway, so that's where I find confidence is a bigger issue than I ever gave it credit for, actually, even though, God, I'm not the world's most confident. I'm really not, but I work with what I've got. I know how to work with what I've got and hide the bits I don't want you to look at. So some of the things that I would look at and show you is body shape going up and down, and then the proportion going left and right. That's just two of the elements, so that we can stretch, work again, it's all illusion, working with and hiding the bits, drawing attention away from the bits that we don't want to be looking at, and enhancing all those fabulous elements that you would absolutely have. I do want to scoot back up because, I'm Janifying all this on the fly. So when I talk about personal presentation, one of the biggest things that I look at and see a gap often is the congruence between how you present and what your business messaging or branding is. Where we've been had a look on, say, LinkedIn, and the photo is all glammed up and fancy, and then you get the person on a call and you're going, I think you've got the wrong person. And actually it is them, but they don't turn up looking. Now, I know, like, that photo of me obviously is a photo shoot, and today it's real life Jane, but across every photo you see of me, at least you can tell it's me, right? Like, it's loosely on brand. It's not to the nth degree every time, but there's a consistency, is the right word, of branding. And of course, there's more than just the external. It's our language, and it's all the non-tangibles too, of our tone and all those different things. I like to stay and make conscious decisions every day to stay in a pretty high vibrational state. And to do that, I have to stay in the cone of Jane. Like this morning, I've ignored simply everything so I can be present and not be scattered and not be, throne, and yeah, just to be true to who I am. And that is a conscious decision every day. So I would ask you to consider and think about, honestly, within your own branding and businesses, are you showing up in a way that feels congruent to your message and your messaging and your photos and your branding? An example that comes to mind is I've been asked to give advice on a group that I belong to with all their members. Anyway, one member is a transformational, I don't know why I'm doing that, sorry, is a transformational coach. And that's lovely, but the photos are very, very, very corporate. You know, that this kind of, and in a suit and everything. And I sort of look at it and go, yeah, like, to me, if that's what your brand is, then I don't know, I feel like they don't match, they don't marry. An example that comes to mind about this is I was on a group call and this girl said to me, Jane, does it really matter what I look like? Seriously, does it really matter? And to describe, she had 20 years experience in finance, in corporate, really knowledgeable, knew her stuff, educated, accreditation, all ticking all the boxes on paper. But how she turned up was wet hair, in no makeup, wet hair in a scrunchy bun, and a like the yoga, not boob tube, but the little crop top thing, like she'd come from a walk, and she was sort of still a bit drippy. And I said, look, and she asked me point blank, because for those of you who know me, I will never talk negatively about anyone, let alone in a public forum. It's just not how I would speak. She looked me down the barrel and said, tell me why. And I said, okay, if you want to know, I will tell you. You are in finance. If we were meeting in person, would you dress like that? And she said, well, no. I said, well, what's the difference? This is a business call. What is the difference? And she said, oh, I don't know. She didn't place emphasis on it. And I said, what you need to consider is, for me to be a prospective client of yours, you're not instilling any faith in me. Because if you cannot show up looking, I don't want her in a suit, but I want to know that I can trust her with mine and my family's money. To me, there was a very big disconnect. There was no congruence there at all. And yeah, really, that was it. And I just thought, yeah, no. So I'd challenge you to each just collect your thoughts about that. Like, if she's a yoga teacher, for example, or runs a yoga studio or something like that, got a yoga brand, then she's on brand. That's great. Like, we don't all have to look the same, and I'm not trying to make you all into mini Janes, but I would challenge you to be reflective of your business and your, the level that you want to show up as. Which way, Scene? I'll just... So with another challenge I would throw at you, you possibly saw Jules's fabulous, actually I did read this email and post this morning about the opportunities to go global for us all. Okay, so world domination, here we go. Now, very exciting. I couldn't be more proud of you, and then, because you champion us, you and Antonia champion us all the time. What I would say, ladies, is this opportunity for us to consider stepping up to global opportunities and on a global level, global stage, right? And I happen to know Linda Fisk reasonably well. I'm grateful enough, we were both in a book together last year. I'm immensely thrilled to be aligned with her. But what I would say is, for you to consider different aspects of your business and your branding and showing up on a level. Like, where do you want to be? If you want to be on a global, getting into a global level, if not speaking, and maybe you want to be on TV, right? Like, let's just go for gold. And your business currently is here, and that's fabulous, right? But this is where you want to go. What do you think you need? How do you need to show up to take yourself from here to here? So, for example, we all know mindset. Natalie said it just before. We all know mindset is massive, right? So mindset, language, behavior, showing up, and I would put in there your personal presentation. If your presentation is reflective of your business starting up as a hobby in your bedroom, and you want to get yourself up onto that kind of level, then there's a disconnect there. If you have financial goals that are well beyond where you are now, which all power to you, then maybe what you have to do is spend the money, invest in yourself to be the woman who behaves like this woman. Not the reverse. We all get caught in like a lot of women say to me, oh, I'd love to work with you. One day when I have the money, I will do that. And that is cool. And I would never want any woman to go into debt to work with me or any other stylist. That's not what I'm about. But what I would say is, if you're on the cusp or you're wanting those kind of goals, then this is another tool to take you to that level, to be the woman you need to be, to attract perhaps clients of that caliber, and create the business you want of that caliber, to create the opportunities of that level of people, you know.
Jane, are you talking to me? Are you specifically talking to me at the moment? I feel like this whole thing,
I can't see everyone. I wish I could see all of you.
I feel like you're directing this whole thing right at me.
I'm sorry, Lisa. She's talking directly to me.
I love that. Well, what do I say? I love that landing then. Let me take a sip. Yeah, I was reflecting on it all this morning, and so I've been on, I'll be honest, I've been on some of these calls with Linda Fisk. The caliber of people she attracts are so impressive, And, you know, I want to be around people, predominantly women are my jam, who I can learn from and I can be inspired by, and are well beyond, you know, where I sort of go, oh, I don't know whether I'm confident enough. I don't know whether I can do it. I don't, you know, all of that. And yet, like, if I position myself with people, that business owners that were doing it as a hobby one day a week, and, you know, wanted to stay within my suburb, say, like, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't mean it like that. I just mean you've got to make conscious decisions where you place yourself.
Jane, that saying of if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're in the wrong room. It's that kind of thing.
That's there you go. Thank you very much. That's it.
And in the past, just to intimidate all of us, Linda in the past was the head of, I think it was the Young Presidents Association or something like that in America.
Yeah.
And to get in, you have to have a turnover of more than $50 million US.
I didn't know that.
You have to have more than 20 staff. So that's the women she surrounded herself with. I'm going to be quiet.
And what I will say is, when I jumped on a call, a Zoom with Linda, which truthfully, I was really quite nervous, because that's not my story, 50 million turnover, 20 staff, let me just say. And what happened is she said, Jane, since we did the book, which was, we first started mid last year, since then, I've been watching you on every platform. I watch every post. I read everything. Like, she'd done all this due diligence, which I didn't know. And I remember thinking, having an out of body while she's talking, thinking, thank God, every post I do, every message I do is really true to who I am. My language, my words, it's, I don't get it right every time, but I try and I've done a lot of work on owning who I am and owning my little unicorn way. And it was very humbling anyway to hear her say, actually, I've been watching you all this time and I think you are impressive. And I went, oh gosh, wow. Isn't it interesting? So also I would add, people watch all the time. The dean of fashion, when I studied, which I will say is over 30 years ago, right? She is a really big player in the fashion industry. She's run the Melbourne Fashion Festival forever, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I didn't even think she'd remember who I was, quite honestly. And because about every 5 to 10 years, I run into her. Anyway, at an event, she said, Jane, I can see, and she basically prattled off my CV. And I went, wow, didn't even know you'd taken any notice. So I suppose my point with this is you just never know who is watching, what opportunities there are out there, particularly when you show up in a way that is where you want to go, not where you are now. So if I bring it back to fashion, one of my key values, other than yes, I love glamour and I love beautiful fabrics and I love all that, but I actually also like to make it really easy. I will tell you, I own one lipstick shade, one. I just buy the same one all the time. I don't change it. I'm I'm about ease. Because when I change it, then I've got the wrong handbag and the wrong one, I've left it there and it's just all too hard. I actually want it easy. It took me years and years and years to nut out, even with my hair, which I know is a bit my signature, but to nut out how to work with it so that it looks glamorous, but it's not very much work for me. So it's about ease. And I would say once you understand the Jane version, because how I work, lots of stylists, and I don't want to run down any of them because there's brilliance everywhere, but I've cherry-picked 30 years of fashion and I just give you the things to action with ease. I just make it really easy because we're busy and you just need the punchline, the point form. And when you've got it, the help, for instance, with colour, everything goes together. I could get dressed in the dark and it'd basically all go together because it's not haphazard. It's like I have one lot of eyeshadow, one lot of lipstick, and I didn't tell Peter gave that, and one lot of everything. Because I don't want to spend heaps of money on heaps of things. I don't want to change it all the time. These colours turn back the clock. Who doesn't want that? There we go. Easy. Really, that's as hard, and that's what I help women do. So let me just show you. I've got some visuals because, I've picked, this is for colour. I just wanted to show you a few things. I've picked Dame Judy because A, I think she's just wonderful. But B, I wanted to put some visuals in here of women that are what I call grown-ups. So it's like watching 20-year-olds tell us all about anti-aging stuff, right? That is not congruent. I want to look at real people. So the reason why I've got this on here is the left-hand photo and the middle one, Dame Judy is clearly in two different roles, and the one on the right, I think, is a headshot. But the reason why I want to show you this is colour. Colour I could talk about till, you know, your ears start to bleed, in all honesty. But the reason why I've got this here is I want to show you the difference with golden hair on the left. Now, I realise the photo is a bit grainy, but it was the best I could find. But with those golden colours, warm, that thingy around her neck, and then bronze here, so everything's really warm, I can't see her eyes. So for those of you, if this is your story, you're already hiding some of your best assets. In the middle, she's got red hair and this yellow print. She looks a lot older. Her skin looks mottled and strange. If we go to the right, with all the makeup's changed, you see these beautiful blue eyes, you see the bone structure, and of course, I love that she's honouring her grey hair. I think that's really fabulous. And honestly, very few people could wear hair that short and look amazing. I will say, Joanne Brooks is one that does, just because I know you're on this call, Joanne. You can rock hair this short and it looks amazing because you have such beautiful bone structure. Most of us couldn't, gosh. Now, I stick Princess Diana in here as an example to show you because I like her. But why this is in here is this is an example of fabric and silhouette. So when I talk about, when you understand your body shape, which I give them gorgeous names, you'll see why things work well and why some look like you're in dress-ups. So Princess Diana on the left, and the middle one, if we go to the middle one, she was super young and naive then, my word, what she was in for, that poor woman. Anyway, she's in a dress that, you know, she was probably 18 or something, didn't know herself, probably unassertive like all of us back then, too frilly dilly for her. She is this beauty with, she has quite delicate colourings, but it's, to me, that dress wears her. The one on the right, left, sorry, again, there's too much, it's what I'd call too high detail. The fabric is too detailed. We've got a lot going on. There's ruching sideways, there's ruching up and down. The fabric's really flowy and cascading, and that would actually look better on me because her body shape's the opposite. On the right, she's finding herself, she's a little bit older here. That blue, drop dead gorgeous with those big, big blue eyes that she has. But the sleeker styling, she is wearing that outfit, not the reverse. And you can see the difference. So what I want for all women that I work with is you to walk in the room and you are wearing the clothes, not the other way around. And when that happens, you've got the audience, like you've got them. And then you open your mouth and you share your knowledge, your magic, your message, what you are there to do. And you're not fiddling and you're not worrying, and you know, you've got it. You're already on the front foot. Now, I just want to show you here, you may have seen, some of you who've watched different things with me, this is another one just with fabric. So the one on the right, now I bought that in Paris on my last day when I was just, you know, wanting to buy stuff, knowing fully well that, you know, it's not great, but I just wanted it anyway. Now, both the colours are good. The one on the right, I've never worn, the tag is still on it. I think I've had it 5 years and I keep it as a teaching tool. It's not that it's terrible, but I look a lot bigger. The one on the left, different kind of fabric. It's a viscose jersey as opposed to a woven. As soon as I put on the one on the left, I go, huh. And I can eat as much chocolate and fatty boomba stuff that makes me simply happy. And the right fabrics will just redirect the eye and the wrong ones will just puff out, you know, in my case, my tummy is where it tends to go. So that's such a super easy example. And necklines, one frames my face and one just does a bit. It's not terrible. It's just a bit of nothing. I don't know about you, but I don't want a bit of nothing. If I'm there to present and teach, you know, we're quick to judge. So I want everything going for me. Because if I'm a bit nervous, which 9 times out of 10 I am, at least it's a couple of extra runs on the board than going against, you know, one extra thing for me to worry about. Now, in my course, the 5-month course called Elevate Me, it's holistic. So I do talk about hair and makeup as well as many other aspects. But what I wanted to show you here, because it's all very well I say this about hair and makeup, but I thought you need a good example. Now, Reese Witherspoon is an absolute beauty, of course. She would have makeup artists and product at her disposal at all times. It took me a long time to find not so great photos. Now, what I wanted to show you is in the middle. Now, I know she's not smiling, so it's probably not a completely fair analogy, but it's the only one with dark hair I could find. It's not terrible, but you can do better. The one on the left with this makeup, to me, that looks like costume. It's too strong for her beautiful features. The one on the right, instead of the one on the left where the makeup is wearing her, on the one on the right, you see her first and her makeup second. To me, this is what I'm looking for you. And the makeup she has on the right would go with probably her whole wardrobe. Again, we're getting back to ease, 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 ease. I'm probably I'm a stylist who would say, let's spend less money than more. Yeah. Oh, look, I stuck this in this morning. I hummed and hard. Anyway, I wanted to show you the one on the left. Now, I couldn't find the high version, high res, that's the better word. But I wanted to show you this because I'm in the same dress. Now, there's about 5 years difference between the two. Which one do you think it is am I older in? You might have to unmute.
One on the
Left.
right.
The one on the right, I'm older.
Well, I would say the hair colour, just because of the hair colour. But
Yeah.
it suits you better.
Yeah.
But I feel like that, but I don't know.
Yeah. You're spot on, actually. So the one on the left was taken, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. And why I'm showing you this is, and I know what I'm doing, but things sneak up, and hair color is a big one that can sneak up unless you make big changes. So my blonde highlights were getting golder and golder, like yellow, warm gold. And what that was doing, A, it looks really yellow in the photo. In real life, it didn't quite look as yellow, but it's quite yellow there. But B, it gives me a lot of shadows, and it's actually quite aging. So here we are on the one on the right. That was taken last year at age 49. And so in this instance, changing my hair color to more pearlized and more ash, all lines just magically disappeared. That's just a selfie I took, clearly. It's not fancy lighting, it's just in front of the window. So
Jane, it just goes to prove that we look better with age. You look much better than that one.
And you know what else I would add in there is self-development, loving oneself more and more and more as I've got older. But that is the difference, again, with, not working as hard. I just want to make it really easy. Okay, so yes, I've talked about Elevate Me. That's my 5-month course. I will say it is, I know, I had another story to tell you. So there's a lady I worked with who did Elevate Me actually, and she was late for, she's accomplished, all those kind of things, you know, children. And what had happened, loving marriage, she'd lost her way with herself, her body, and, you know, put on weight through here and all that kind of thing. And, you know, self-worth gets chipped away over time. And I kept saying to her, okay, so what do you feel good in? Like, you know, and she'd say, oh, well, my husband thinks I look good in this. And I'd say, okay, yeah, but what do you think? Oh, no, well, he buys blah, blah for me. I'm like, oh, wow. And so she'd lost the ability to even know herself and what works. And because she showed me a photo, he's handsome and he just knows how to dress, he knows. But what happened is he would put her in colours that he liked, that worked for him. Now, this happens a lot also in retail stores, not all, but a lot. Girls will say, here, Jules, wear this. And of course, it's what they love, what works on them, not necessarily what works on you. And so it's just something to consider. What happened after working with her for quite some time, it took time. It took time because her self-worth was pretty chipped away at. And so this is actually why I developed a longer course, because it takes time. It's not me saying it once isn't enough. It is me saying it, giving you a bit, you implement it, you get scared, and then you give it another go. You know, it's a process. But what happened is she found herself. And then, of course, what do you think that did for their relationship? He got back his wife, who bit by bit by bit was finding her strength, finding her sense of self again. And, you know, that happens with women with young children and, I don't know, myriad of reasons, relationships, whatever. It happens to all of us for one reason or another. So, yeah. And what else? Oh, yeah, I did pop this in. This was just a visual about different shaped pants with, you know, what works on some and not on others. Gathered waist in the middle. Not good, not good. If you would like to work together, of course, I'd love to work with any of you. My two most popular services are Ask the Stylist, which is a 90-minute. So, you know, that might be like a course correct. And it might be, I do record it and I go super fast and give you a lot of info in that time and send you on the right way. And the other one is Elevate Me, which is actually open now. This year, I'm changing things. It's only going to be open, I haven't decided, it's either 2 or 3 times a year. That's the 5-month one. And we have it's one-on-one, everything's one-on-one. And we have a Zoom call every second week. And we have the 10 topics. One of the topics I will mention is repurposing. So I'm a big part. Now, if you can't sew, I can help find people who can, but is working with what you've got. So maybe it's a case of some alterations. Maybe it is a way of adjusting what you've already got. You know, if you've heard me talk, I'll often talk about jackets I've had for 10 years, and I might get them, reline them to give them more life. So this is not just a let's buy lots and lots of new things. There's one jacket, a woolen, actually it's a merino wool knit that I wear. So the fabric's right, the colour's right, the shape's near my face is right. I bought it from Aldi, good old Aldi. I tell very few people that, but you mix it then with other more expensive pieces. And I think that's the art, that's effortless style, when we can put cheap and cheerful in with more expensive and they all work, like the elements work. And then to me, that's effortless style. And the last page is this is how you can find me if you want to, feel free. And voila, any questions?
That was just super. Now, why don't we get off? Do you want to unshare the screen, Jane? And we'll get everybody back and we can have a bit of a chat. Because it's obviously been resonating with lots of people. There's been like stacks of things.
I can see, my word. I'll have to save this. Okay.
Do you know how to?
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Right. So.
Yes. Goodness.
Right. What did look at all the hands up straight away. Karen, you go first.
Hi, Jane. I've been loving you for ages. I love especially the repurposing, and I think we must be a dying skill because I've been sewing since I was 9 as well, but I don't have a lot of, so I can still do that repurposing. And I used to do that a lot when I was actually on stage and I made costumes and all of those things. Haven't done it so much anymore. My question to you is, my brand, because I ultimately want to work with senior executives in corporations, and I work with horses. So it has to be comfortable. And so
are they combined?
Pardon?
Are they
yes,
combined?
They are. Yes.
Right. Okay.
So groups come out and work with the horses, and I excuse me, I do complementary kind of leadership development in the training room. So what we learn in the training room, we actually apply and test in the arena with the horses. So it has to be comfortable. I always take photos of the arena sessions, which is part of my tools that I give back to them as a follow-up and a refresh and a reminder of what they've done and what they were doing. And because I'll say, oh, look, what can you tell me is happening here in the photo or the short video or something? So it helps them kind of recall and also be able to go, oh, I needed to do this. I can see I was doing this wrong now from looking from the outside in. So it has to. So my aim of the brand is the teal, which is sophistication. I also have dark grey, which is that corporate kind of boring colour, and gold. And I usually always wear pants because of working in the arena with the horses. So how do I combine that elegant executive look with the practical application, in my work?
Yeah. Such a great question. I like all your branding colours. They work really well together. I think this is one of the biggest growth areas, actually, of interesting pieces post-corporate. I'd put you in some cool jackets, some interesting shapes, non-traditional, like not like a suit jacket kind of thing. I'd put you in far more interesting and maybe because I get that you need pants ideally, but I think there's a way you could mix it up and add a real fashion blend, and whether it's throwing some prints in there as well, or I'd throw a few accessories in there.
Yeah, I always kind of usually wear a standout necklace, which is, of course, got lots of colours in it and a horse. And the other thing is sometimes our arena is outdoors, so I have to kind of I can pair my business shirt with a black vest, which is embroidered.
Is your business shirt has that got an icon on it? Is that like
it has. I'm not wearing it now. It's got my logo up here.
Okay.
On it. So, but I don't always have to do that. Yeah.
I feel like you could do like a little, those kerchief scarves and pop that in your hair with a bit of a print and have a bit of fun. I feel like you could so have fun in there, like really challenge traditional corporate, because like what you're doing is so clever. It's not at all traditional corporate. So it'd be nice to really inject more fun into it.
Can I just ask, what about something like jodhpurs and long boots each time with different jackets? Would that work? Because that kind of gives the horsey thing.
Yeah, I do. I do wear my short version of riding boots. I normally have boots on because you have to have closed-toed shoes anyway.
Right, yeah.
So I do wear a beautiful brand of riding pant, which is very comfortable, has a big phone pocket on the side, easy to work with.
colour are
and
they?
is really quite unique. It's called Tuk Tuk, and they're not cheap. They're not as dark. They don't have the color that I'd particularly like. So I'm wearing a lighter gray, but yeah, and they've got like a special embroidery down the bottom of the hem on the pants. So I've been conscious about not just wearing the same old jeans or straight black pants. They are much more upmarket, and I pair it with that. But I hadn't thought about the scarf in my hair, because that would be good. I also have to be
You've got your hair in
careful
a pony today. I think it'd be really fun. Just add a bit of, you've got red glasses, and just add a bit of a twist, like a twist of personality.
And yeah, I could wear the boots in the winter time, except my pants are actually boot cut, so hard to squeeze in. Although, yeah, but yeah. So I'm.
How would you cope with a printed jacket?
It would probably get dirty by the end of the day, so I'd have to do a lot of dry cleaning. But that's fine. Yeah, and I've always kind of stayed away from the print, because I'm thinking, well, it's really not kind of following the brand. I've always kind of thought, well, I need to have these 3 colors in it, and that, but I haven't tried it.
But you've already got a logo on your shirt. You've already got your pants that are appropriate, you know. That maybe that could be part of the twist.
Yeah.
Nice.
I like it.
Great. Okay, Rochelle, who's busy. She actually looks like she's in a disco.
Look, I have no idea what's been going on with my Zoom. I can tell you what, when I've had clients, I've had to turn it off, because sometimes just these green flickers are happening, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, it's like you're moving like you're in an 80s music video.
I know, it's awful. So I guess my thing is, my colours are obviously pink, as most people will know. And I guess the thing for me has been about changing styles. Now that I've had a double mastectomy and I've got a wear the belly, so many of my clothes, there was things that I went, okay, these 1950s style dresses need to go, because they're just not going to work. No. But then there's been a lot of clothes that I've gone, oh, yeah, that will work. And then I put it on and gone, oh, no. So it's not that I want to minimise the flat. It's not that at all, because I know a lot of people that have had a mastectomy want to hide that they're flat. I don't want to hide that I'm flat. But I do want to minimise the belly that was always there. I just didn't see it before.
Yeah, because that's the thing. When you're full in the bust, it hides lots.
It certainly did. It certainly did. Those double Ds hit a lot.
But I feel like, for women, and obviously you've gone through this massive thing or stage, but I feel like for women, any time of change, whether it's leaving a relationship, leaving a job, whatever, it's this really lovely opportunity to reinvent ourselves, whether it's on a big level or a little level, and I think that's really fun to be able to do that, keep growing and moving forward. Like, I don't want to stay the same forever as a creative person. That's not. So yeah, I would then add some level of focus and width up here.
Okay.
If here's flatter and here has you want to take the focus off, I would thanks, Michelle. I would lift the focus up to here. So maybe you could start to embrace beyond crazy necklaces, jewelry, accessories. Yeah. You could even go off the shoulder, like create some level of, I keep doing this, so horizontal focus to take that, to elevate the eye and distract. Whereas if you just wore like a singlet top shape, now with your body changed, like how one of the last times I saw you had that little 50s dress which looked so great on you, but now be a bit sort of a bit of nothing now, I would think. So I think
certainly I have bought a couple of off the shoulder tops with a bit of a ruffle, and they sit really beautifully now, much better than they did when I had breasts. And things are cut away at the shoulder, so I've got the high neck. And I have found ray pleats that fall from up here.
Perfect.
do hide quite a lot.
You
as
could
well.
have lots of detail, like, you know, pin tucking and ruffles and all those kind of add bulk detail. You could actually do a lot of that now, which you probably wouldn't have done before, or may not have done before. But you could have all that across here. You know how some shirts, traditional shirt maker shirts, might be flat here and have pin tucks. Not too girly holly hobby pin tucks, because you need it more edgy than that. You're far more edgy, but you could have that kind of level of detail there. I think that'd work really well.
It's just a bit of a trial and error, I think, at the moment.
Yeah, and even one shoulder, like one shoulder exposed, that kind of look, you could rock that really well.
Okay, I'll give it a go.
Any more questions, whether it's about your own style or whether you just want to comment on generally any of the things that we've been talking about? I know that there we go. Alex, hello. You go. Hello.
Hello. Thanks, Jane. Just so much fabulous information and delivered in your beautiful, unique way. And I just want to I guess, reinforce, hearing you talk about the way we are and who we really are and bringing that out in your style. It's just another reminder to me that that's really what all of us want. We just want to be recognised for who we are. And the way that you presented those slides on, these are the colours that work for me, I have one lipstick, just those hacks, I just thought they were fabulous. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy you joined today. That's so lovely.
Great. Have we got any more questions for anyone? What I was going to talk was how incredibly all of us have been influenced by that heroin chic kind of 80s kind of look, where we were all kind of going, oh, but I'm too curvy and everything. Whereas now I feel like curvy is in a lot more, but we all judge ourselves, I think, based on what was happening when we were teenagers and in our 20s.
Yeah.
And you had to have no lumps and bumps at all anywhere. In fact, Rochelle should really just dress like the 80s, big shoulder pads, no lumps and bumps.
I think too what happens is we get caught in, I see this with makeup, we get caught in a time when we felt good. So whether it's hair or makeup, and often with women, especially when women have youngish children, they still keep doing it the way that they were doing it when they were young and single and dating and whatever, and because they felt really good about themselves then, and then as their bodies perhaps change and whatever, they don't adapt to new ways and so they're sort of stuck in. And then money goes to educating kids and all that kind of stuff, which I get that, and styling is probably lower on the food chain. But then we're lost. We don't know who we are.
That's right. Then we can need to come and see you.
We can each come and see me.
Jane, I've got an interesting situation. A few people have commented on hair colour. Yep. And, we mentioned you can see my blonde hair is now this colour. And what challenge that poses for me is I don't know what colours suit me anymore, because I knew I was goldy blonde. But now I put palettes up to my face and I kind of think, I don't know whether to go that way, or as you've just said, stick with what I've always knew. But what I always knew may not work anymore, because I'm not that goldy blonde. I'm a silver blonde. And I don't know whether that means throw the wardrobe out or not, but I'm kind of wondering.
Yeah, great question. I wrote a post about this recently, in the last 2 weeks, I think, about, as we age, the pigment changes, obviously, like our hair, the pigment goes, we go more grey, but even our skin tone changes as we age. It just does. And so what perhaps looked brilliant in our younger years very likely is not. It's not always the case. It does depend on your colorings, but a lot of the time we do need to adapt and change as we age. We just do. There's much black, yeah. You know, I'm gonna applaud that, Anne, don't you, about not wearing. Yeah, you used to look like the Italian widow. Black is very, very, very harsh, and I happen to love head to toe black. I love it. I look like the blonde widow in black. I can do it, but I have to work so hard to give myself color in the face and change all my makeup to have more brightness. That's too hard. That's too much work. I can't be bothered. And I love fashion, but I can't be bothered. It's too hard. I want it easier. So what I would say about your colorings is, like, I know you are going through this metamorphosis yourself, because we chatted on Sunday about that, and that's amazing. Maybe we do your colors. That's probably the answer, truthfully. There's no pressure to, of course, that's not how I work, but if you would like to, that'd be lovely. It's not often not just a case if you embrace the grey and you go, you know, because all types of grey is different, obviously. You'll find the depth of colour that will suit you will change. Often it needs to be softened down. Yeah. It's not, as you can see, it's not just a one-step answer. And you'll find with everything I say, I don't give sweeping statements. You'll never catch me saying, every woman needs a little black jacket and a black pair of pants and a little black dress. Because I just simply don't believe that, because we're all unique little fabulous women, and you can't put us and you can't, I just don't think you can put us all in a box, or we all look the same. I went to hear a stylist speak. I really wanted to hear, you know, another perspective, and this was years ago, and I remember she said, I think every woman needs to wear white jeans. And I had to tap into my inner actress so that I kept my poker face, because I thought, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. And if I'm at the heavier point of my range, there's no way you'd get me in light coloured jeans, because I feel like it makes my bottom look bigger. And I've got to, you've got to be so careful because they get dirty and it's all too hard. But I thought, yeah, it's interesting, the sweeping statement thing. You look at just the faces here, we're all so different. How can you say that there's a one-stop shop for us all? We end up looking like a uniform.
Can I just say something, Sharon? I've got white hair. Yes. And I love dark colors. Well, navy is my favorite, but also with black. And I stand out I just stand out. Yes. But now with the colors coming, I prefer to stand out wearing a bright color dress than somebody seeing my hair. I don't know. It's just it's like somebody would say, "Oh, well, where is she?" And they'd look at the head. And I'm so excited that these colors have come in for summer, because I just think that the colors are changing it, and it's my clothing now, not my hair. Does that make sense, Jane?
That's it in a nutshell. And you have fabulous, your hair is everything, such a signature of who you are, Cynthia. It's lush, and there's so much of it, and it's so lovely to see you, Vicky. It's so iconic, you know, for you. It's such a signature. But you can see, looking at you today with the dark color on, the contrast is so high. It's what I'd call really high contrast. So you've nailed it exactly. We're looking at your hair first and then you second. It's not that that's a right or wrong. It's just an observation. So with you in colours that are not quite as strong, we might be looking at you first. Yeah.
Can I say something too about wearing all black? Because I love it on occasions, and it's one of those great things where, you know, everything goes together. And that theory, and we're in Melbourne, certainly for the Melbourne people, and it makes you look a bit slimmer, but I get that it can be draining. And I was thinking, I've embraced scarves over the last 5 or 10 years, in a huge way. So even if you are wearing black, you can wear a soft color like a pink or a green or a whatever around your neck. And does that, I mean, is that sort of a good solution, or do you think
it's a way to, yes, it's a way to do it. I'd probably take it a step further too. So, you know, like ladies come to me, and if I secretly think, gosh, I'd love to get you out of black, I don't say it quite like that. I start softer and then work my way towards that. But if you hand on heart want to wear black and it's just the way it is, I'll show you how to do it. So scarves are a great way, but I would encourage you to buy scarves that are your very, very best colours, most complementary, because it's right near your face. It's a way to frame the best asset. And keep in mind, this is our shop window. So here up, if this is pretty spot on, fabulous. So there's that. And I would also extend that to makeup colours and make sure that you're making the most of the right sort of undertones and depth of colour while you're wearing your black. So make sure it's your best version of your lipstick or you know, foundation, cheeks, however much you wear, you know, but make sure that they're spot on. And they'll run in families, they'll run in colour palettes. So it's working within, if you can stick within a palette. I look at a lot of the young girls who all wear like the contour bizzo, and this is like brown, and then this is pink, and this is like, and they just, to me, they don't work together. They also didn't ask my opinion, so it doesn't really matter, but but it works better when they're all from the same family.
Very nice. Have we got any more questions from anyone? Any comments? Anything? Anne saying, I find the trouble with working from home, I forget to put makeup on. Yeah, hello. I hear that.
Look, I just want to say thank you. I resonated with so much of what you said, Jane. And I'm going to be taking you up on that Zoom coffee because I just feel like there is so much to talk about. But one big takeaway from me, and thank you, is I spent so much of my life feeling like I'm a failure of a woman because I literally only have one shade of lipstick. And now I'm like, no. I am leading the way. I'm onto it. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Natalie. It's so lovely to have you here. Oh, goodness.
It is.
Any and more little beautiful post this morning that you wrote. I because I was in the clone of Jane, I haven't responded, but you know, it was really kind, really, really kind.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll have to go in and have a look.
After this.
Oh.
All right. Well, then maybe we should wind it up. Jane, do you want to just you've let everybody know if they want to get hold of you how to, and also Jane's in the She's the Boss Facebook group.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to connect with her there. Yep. Just one last sort of round. Does anyone have any other comments or anything they want to say? Otherwise, I'd just say thank you all so much for sparing the time today. Jane, you're amazing. We knew you would be. And there you are. And what a great one to have for our first one for the year.
Yeah. When we look at the year coming forward, like there's so many exciting things, and, you know, gosh, you're at the helm of it all, making it all happen. So there's opportunities galore for all of us. So I think it's
certainly are.
An exciting time.
And I would also say to everyone that our next learning table in 4 weeks is with Heidi Dugan. Heidi has had a TV show in China, a daily TV show in China for 20 years with 6 million viewers a day. And she's going to talk to us about how we can expand our businesses into China if we want to. So I think she's an amazing woman. Her story is amazing. She was a student on exchange in China and was at a TV station, coincidentally, on the day they decided 20 years ago that it was time for China to have its first foreigner as a TV host. And they saw her, she spoke Chinese, and she was in. So it's a great story, and you'll all get to meet her. She's super, super great, particularly interested in products, people who want to take products out to China.
It makes me think, get your ducks lined up. Like, get, whether you want to work with me or not, is one element, but it's only one element. Like get, once you've worked with me, get your new headshots, get your, get your copywriting, get everything ready so that when the opportunity presents itself, you can go, yep, I'm ready.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. Oh, well, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. And if you're at a loose end, or if you're not at a loose end and you just want to meet some great people, on Friday we have another online lunch. And any of the new faces that haven't been here, we'd love to have you at the lunch, and you can tell us a bit more about what you do. But it's just been wonderful, Jane. You're brilliant. Everybody have a wonderful rest of the day and rest of the week.
Thank you for having me. Thanks, girls.
Bye. I'll stop recording now.